Hello, everybody. It's Jay Del Vecchio, president of W.I.T.S, and we are very lucky today to have a presentation by Terri Turner. She has her master's and all kinds of other fancy credentials that tell us one big thing. You're in for a treat to go into a subject area we really haven't tagged into before with a lot of insight. So Terri, it's great to have you, and everybody, I'm going to unmute you so you can ask questions throughout the event. And of course, I will be there in the question panel ready to help out if you have something. But heck, just unmute yourself because we're giving you that option, and you can ask Terri something directly. And thanks for being with us. All you, Terri.
Yeah, hi. So like Jay said, my name is Terri Turner. I've been one of the W.I.T.S instructors, I think for about 10 or 11 years now. I'm also a CMPC and a board certified health coach. What a CMPC is, it's someone that works in sports psychology. So I'm a certified mental performance consultant through ASP, which is the Association for Applied Sports Psychology. And I also still work in fitness, doing a little bit of personal training and pre and postnatal fitness work. But today we're talking about the psychology of business and fitness. And like Jay said, feel free to unmute yourself if you guys ever want to chime in or you have a question. I don't think there's that many of you on here, so it's totally fine to just sort of interrupt as we go along. Just excuse me because I have a few different screens going on, so I might be a little bit back and forth. But so we talk about business psychology, we talk about the psychology of fitness, just because they're both something, it's often a missing link, whether you're a business professional or whether you are a fitness professional working with clients. And we know in order for us to be successful as business entrepreneurs or business professionals, we have to really kind of have this holistic approach when we're working with our clients to grow our business. And mental health is something that is often overlooked. A lot of people don't realize it, but mental health issues, they come in a whole different varieties and present in a whole bunch of different ways. And as fitness professionals, we obviously we're not therapists, but we all kind of joke about being therapists in one way or another while we're training our clients. But you don't have to be an expert in mental health, right? There are things that we can take into account, and there's things that we can do to support our clients that might already possibly have a mental health condition that they are managing. A lot of things like anxiety and depression, a lot of people present with that when they are seeing personal trainers. And one thing that I talk about all the time, whether I am working with potential personal trainers or I'm working with an actual client in terms of fitness, is if they're first time gym goers, if they're new to fitness, if this is the first time in their journey, we know, and we have all met with these types of clients, but for them just to step foot into the gym or to even meet with a personal trainer is terrifying, right? They already have these preconceived ideas about the fitness environment or the people that work in the fitness environment or work out there and what that's like. So they might feel they don't have the type of physique or the stamina or the education behind fitness or the desire or the willpower to even go. So we can kind of see as fitness professionals, as personal trainers, when we're meeting that client for the first time, how mental health does play a role into that. And sometimes having that puzzle piece as a fitness professional using positive psychology techniques can make or break if we're going to get that client, or maybe even if they're just going to get a gym membership at all. So it plays a huge role in just our business and in our ability to help our clients succeed and get the results that they actually want. And we know the more results our clients get, then that's just going to help our business grow in the long run. It's going to help us feel more fulfilled as professionals, and it's going to create a better rapport and relationship with all of our clients. So this is just the description on the first slide here that was sent out to you. So today, integrating sports psychology into your practice can enhance client experiences, foster loyalty, and create a thriving business. By addressing the mental aspects of fitness, you can provide a comprehensive support that extends beyond physical training. Learn how adding various sports psychology principles into your business can enhance not only your personal effectiveness, but also the performance and satisfaction of your team and clients. It's a holistic approach that can lead to sustainable growth, improved relationships, and a more resilient business model. So just really quick, the 4 pillars of health we have kind of grown up with, and the 4th pillar has actually just been semi-new to be added onto it. But the 4 pillars of health are your exercise, nutrition, and your sleep. And then more recently, it's mental health as well. And also, just to kind of clear up a few things with sports psychology, everyone always asks me this. Sports psychology is not just for athletes. And I always just kind of like to point this out just to clear up a few things. But it's for business professionals, it's for the military, it's just for the average health coaching client. It's not just for athletes. And while a lot of times the main clientele is athletes for a lot of sports psychologists or mental performance consultants, they're all very powerful tools as business professionals too. So a big portion of my clientele is actually executives and business professionals, because we use things like leadership development, building and sustaining confidence and motivation, visualization techniques, how to properly and effectively set goals. All of those things that we use for athletes are really good things that can help you in terms of building your personal brand, whatever it might be, whether it's in fitness or not, and help you find ways to get over the hurdles that are not that are in the way from keeping you a business growth and just success in general. So it's something very powerful for all people to do, or some things that we're going to go over today. Something called the SWOT analysis. There's things like identifying your areas of strengths and weaknesses. It's all based around positive psychology. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And there's so many things under this topic of just health coaching and sports psych. So I really just narrowed it down for time's sake, but to just scratch the surface on what is business psychology, and then what is the psychological components of fitness, and then making sure that you guys have a takeaway in each department. So I'm going to go through what's called a SWOT analysis at the end, and then a few little things that you can take away today. They might be very basic, and they might be you might already be used to it, but regardless, it's just a really good review of things like, MI techniques, how to build the first steps in building a strong rapport when you meet clients for the first time, things like that. Okay. All right, so 4 known pillars of wellness is sleep, exercise, nutrition, and now mental health. And then going on, again, I can't really see this screen, so I'm sorry. Mental health, the overlooked puzzle piece of fitness. So by shaping mindset, that's something that we should all be able to kind of tap into a little bit to empower our clients, right? So approaching exercise not as a chore, because we all know when we get those clients, and sometimes we feel like this as well, feel like the exercise is a chore, but making sure that it's reframed and flipping the script, like this is a time for growth, it's a time for transformation, it's a time for fulfillment. So that's kind of what mindset training is. But as the fitness industry evolves, integrating positive psychology is really going to help with all of us as professionals, sort of just like pave the way for having a super holistic approach. But in terms of mental health being the puzzle piece of fitness that's often left out, I can confidently say 99% of the time, if we as professionals are not meeting our business goals, or our clients are not reaching their fitness goals, it's going to be from an underlying issue under the mental health umbrella, unless it's something like, a thyroid disorder, or there's a hormonal imbalance or something like that, like an actual medical condition. 99% of the time, it's going to be due to something that we can look at and tweak and reframe that has to do with mental health. So you can see how mental health plays a role in all of these things that integrate into the other pillars that we are mostly familiar with, your sleep, your exercise, your nutrition. But when you're with a client or yourself and you're thinking of, okay, what are the puzzle pieces that might possibly be missing? They're your cognitive function and clarity. So things like focus, decision-making, problem solving. And then you have emotion regulation. So people that have mental health issues, that they already are in place, things like emotional regulations causing heightened stress, anxiety, depression. These are all emotions that we know are overwhelming. And then that plays into things like not being able to attain our goals. Self-esteem and confidence, that's the third one. When we see our clients that don't believe in their capabilities, this is something that are obviously going to be able to hinder their goals. We have confidence, and then we have self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is different than confidence because we have clients that might have super high self-efficacy in another role, whether it's like parenting their children or in their professional life, but they might have super low self-efficacy in the gym. So those are two different things that a lot of times people aren't sure about. Then we have coping skills and resilience. We know that resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks. So without this, whether there's challenges, and we see this again all the time, maybe there's a setback in our personal life. Maybe our client's going through a divorce, or, you know, as a mom, I certainly know I have 3 kids, setbacks happen all the time with them. We might have to take off a week from the gym and our kids are sick, or they get hurt, and then that affects us and our entire routine. And a lot of times if we don't have that resilience and we don't have that mental stamina, that can throw us off for a really long time. I have had clients that decide to take off the summer from exercising because all their kids are at home and they're, you know, out of school, and it's hard to get daycare, childcare, whatever it is. And then they just never go back because that little hurdle, that summer vacation, that summer break, they are lacking those that resilience to kind of get right back into it. So the fifth thing is our social connections. We all know what it feels like when we're isolated. I think COVID really did a number on a lot of people with this, but those social connections are really important. You know, support, motivation. Sometimes it allows us to collaborate for other business opportunities. All of that's super helpful. Lifestyle choices. We all know if we're struggling in that mental health department, then we're not oftentimes making the best choices in terms of nutrition, eating correctly. Are we staying up too late? Are we getting our 8 hours of sleep a night? Are we exercising most days of the week? And we all know that's a very critical portion for goal achievement. And then we have stigma and awareness. There's a stigma around mental health, as we all know. It's definitely been getting better throughout the years. It's definitely something that I speak up about a lot all the time, but leading our clients to not overlook this importance, or to making sure we are not failing to provide resources as needed, and not allowing our clients to struggle in silence. I think most of the times we just need to simply bring ourselves as you know, we're personal trainers and we're working in the health and the fitness industry. Even if you're not a personal trainer, but just working in the field, you naturally have a calling to really help people to improve their health, mental and physical health. And a lot of times we just have to bring this portion to kind of self-awareness and know what like signs and symptoms to look out for, to already have resources on hand to refer them out as needed. So that's a big step to the stigma and awareness. And another big thing is I'm sorry, this glare is just really bad over here today. I hope you guys can still see me. But when there's every May, like Mental Health Awareness Month, all this stuff, fitness professionals love to share the studies that are done about how exercise is just as effective as antidepressants, this and that. And there's always a big thing that I always speak about on that. And while I agree that exercise can be a very effective tool for not curing, but helping depression, helping anxiety, helping a whole lot of things. As someone that works with professional athletes, and I work with athletes that definitely struggle in this department a lot, it brings another stigma to that, hey, I exercise every single day of the week. Sometimes I train for 2 or 3 hours out of the day, but I still suffer with depression. Something is wrong. Maybe I'm not exercising hard enough. Maybe I'm not doing enough because I'm still suffering through depression and anxiety. And then that creates another layer on top of it. So that's something I like to talk about as well. Just because your client's exercising every day of the week, or they're very fit individuals, or even yourself, us fitness professionals, we have a lot of pressure that we have to deal with on top of everything else too, whether we have to look a certain way or we have to have certain lifestyle choices. But just because you're doing all that and you're still suffering through depression and maybe anxiety, is 100% okay to refer out and to maybe seek a second opinion and possibly start medication or whatever it is. Cognitive behavioral therapy, things like journaling, things like gratitude, things like exercise, sunlight, red light therapy, all of that. Exercise is considered a first line of defense. So it's always okay if those first line of defense things are not working, that you have a resource that you can refer people out to. Did somebody just say something? No? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody, but yeah, you're getting the sunlight therapy. We see about half your face is lit up.
I know, I'm sorry. It's really hard this time of the day, just with that one window. I
No, it's
cannot
just
see
funny.
anything. Yeah, I just really cannot see anything. So I'm just kind of blindly going through some slides here. So if I don't make sense or something is not lined up, it's because I can't see, and please stop me. Okay, so integration with the other health pillars, as we can see, it's all connected. The analogy that a lot of people use that I like to is the chair analogy, right? Like you have 3 legs on the chair, nutrition, sleep, exercise being one, but now we know it's a rounded sort of thing. And the 4th leg of the chair is being mental health, because you can see how everything integrates and plays into one another. The last thing is goal setting and motivation. Mental health affects the ability to set those achievable and realistic goals. So a lot of times we find it difficult to visualize our future or our clients. So sometimes we set goals that are not aligned with our values, leading to disengagement and all that other stuff. So making sure that we, for ourselves, as business professionals and as our clients and as us helping our clients reach their goals, making sure that the goal setting and motivation is at an appropriate place. Okay, psychology of fitness. This is the actual definition that we're getting into. The psychology of fitness is a complex interplay of motivation, mindset, and social influences and personal perceptions. By understanding these elements, we can better navigate fitness journeys, while fitness professionals can create an effective program that caters to the psychological needs of their client, fostering positive psychological environment and fitness that can lead to sustainable behavior change and overall well-being. Okay, these are just a few of my favorite fitness quotes that kind of integrate mental health with fitness. Just a few things that you can see. So your fitness is 100% mental. Your body won't go where your mind doesn't push it. Your body can stand almost anything. It's your mind that you must convince. A strong mind leads to a strong body. Just some little good quotes there. All right. So what does this mean for fitness professionals? Pretty much we can support our clients' mental health and well-being while increasing their physical fitness, and empowering fitness through positive psychology is one of my favorite little sayings. Positive psychology can be a powerful tool in your personal trainer's toolkit. And what I mean by that is when you get certified, or whatever it is, if you're a nurse, if you're a personal trainer, if you're a nutritionist, whatever it is, we all have a set of tools that we have in our quote toolbox, right? So as a personal trainer, for meeting someone for the first time, we have an HSQ that we give them. So that's one tool. We have a set of questions that we ask them. That's another tool. Selling techniques, all of these things. So just making yourself a better professional, adding another tool into there is learning some of these positive psychology techniques, things that focus on strength, motivation, emotional well-being of the client, helps our clients to cultivate better exercise, nutrition habits, helps them to adhere to the program, which is one of the biggest issues that all clients have, and trainers, is making sure that our clients are able to make sustainable lifestyle changes and making sure that they are able to adhere to the program and stick through it so that they see results. Because at the end of the day, again, we need our clients to see results. That, you know, word of mouth is still the most powerful tool, I think, for even through all the social media and the online things that we have. At the end of the day, it's still word of mouth. If your clients are able to see those results, mentally and physically feeling better, they will have your back, and they will refer you on to anyone and everybody that they know. Just the realm of personal training is just evolving so much. When I started this 20 years ago, man, it was so much different than it is now. So now there's like even more pressure to make sure that you are having a really solid approach to things, and that you are evolving and having that holistic approach. Again, it's the mental well-being. Okay, and a lot of times people, the biggest thing that we can do is kind of help our clients associate exercise as something fun and something enjoyable, and not just like, oh, I don't want to do this. And we all have those days, but we want less days like that and more days of actually enjoying what we're doing. All right, so shaping your client's mindset for success. So the first part we have is creating self-efficacy. Again, self-efficacy is different than self-confidence. If our clients have high self-efficacy of being in the gym and actually being able to perform in the gym, whether it's with you or by themselves, then the better. So again, setting smart and achievable goals, making sure that we're celebrating our clients' success as they go along. If there's studies that show if you actually do an appropriate or correct goal setting session, there's a whole thing that I go through with my clients, whether they're athletes or not, but we do what's called a goal mapping session, and we map it out in a way that makes it, I think it's like 40% more likely to actually reach your goals when you do it in this sort of manner. So making sure that we're able to do that correctly with them so that they can have, they can really see their achievements as they go through. Then fostering a growth mindset. We want to encourage our clients to view challenges as opportunities for growth. As personal trainers, we want to make sure that we employ positive body language and feedback just to reinforce that belief that effort leads to improvement. And then we have motivation. I've always practiced self-determination theory. That's the bread and butter of positive psychology, and that's what we use to enhance fitness and motivation. I start identifying intrinsic factors. So we have internal and external motivation factors. There's a time and a place for the external motivation factors, but and it's not bad to necessarily use them, but for the most part, we want to focus on the internal motivators. We want to figure out their why and rely mostly on that. So external might be something like, I just want to look good in these pair of jeans, right? Like we've all heard that, or I'm going to be a certain body weight. But the why behind it is typically something like, I want to feel more self-confident when I go out on dates. I don't want to have to hide wearing a very limited wardrobe or something like that. Or I have zero energy to keep up with my kids. I have high blood pressure. It runs in my family. My father had a heart attack at a really young age. I'm a new dad to 2 little kids. I don't want my kids to have to go through that. Something like that. That's a very solid internal why and an internal motivator. So if we are able to kind of dive into that and understand their actual desires and their actual values, it's going to help solidify that rapport and that relationship that we have so much more. But by aligning the exercise goals with our clients' core values, and there's ways to do this, there's ways to figure it out, but we create that deeper meaning for them and that lasting motivation. And we know confidence, we know motivation, it kind of waxes and wanes. It's not a continual thing. There's peaks, there's valleys, but we want to make sure that the valleys are not something that we stay in very, very long, right? So that's how we sustain motivations, by using some of these extra tools that we can sustain our confidence and our motivation longer than not. Okay. And then harnessing positive emotions. So when we think about exercising, are we thinking of it as a chore, like, oh, I don't want to have to go do this? Or are we thinking about, okay, thinking of working out is triggering like happy feelings, endorphins, boosting my mood, boosting motivation? Is your client laughing with you while they're training? Are they actually enjoying themselves? If the answer is yes, then that's a great sign, right? That means you're harnessing positive emotions for your client, creating a fun atmosphere, things like engaging activities, social interaction, playful challenges, all of that stuff. I think one of the main reasons why people, especially after COVID, there was some kind of studies that were doing on this, but I mean, I was one of them. I used to be someone, I have a full gym at my house, and I used to be someone that just loved to exercise on my own. Well, after COVID, I straight up just went to One Life and got a gym membership, because that for me was kind of reuniting my social interaction with other people. And that is what started to, that's happened to so many others. So making sure that they get that social interaction at the gym, and you as a personal trainer, you are obviously a huge portion of that, right? So personal training, again, is very personal. Making sure that you're able to relate to your client is going to ensure your retention is a lot better. Okay, and then the last thing Visualization. This is a big thing that we use in sports psychology, whether it's for our athletes doing pre-game, post-game routines, visualizing them recovering from injury. There's so many studies out, and I say this all the time, but visualization for everybody, doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not, is the #1 underutilized tool that is that can really be huge in helping you reach your goals, right? There's so many studies that are done on this. It's crazy to me. But as a personal trainer, you can always help your clients, sort of guide them through visualization techniques, right? To help them envision their success. Again, study after study shows that it enhances confidence. It sort of primes your mind for optimal performance. Even I have youth athletes I work with. I even will have them do particular exercises that have nothing to do with the field. It has to, maybe these athletes have like anxiety talking in front of the class or whatever. Like I have high schoolers and we talk about this all the time, but they're trying to nail a presentation or to pass a huge exam or to do a job interview or whatever. Visualization is always the #1 tool that we go to for this. And this is something that as fitness professionals we can use as well. All right, so again, this is one of the just tools, brushing the surfaces of business psych and the psychology of fitness. I wanted to make sure you guys had just 2 simple takeaway tools today, and we're going to go through some other stuff at the end of other possible topics. And what I did mean to say in the beginning too, as we go through this stuff, if there's ever anything that kind of like sparks your interest that you're like, I would like more information on this particular tool, I want to learn some more that could help me, whether it's in your private business practice or whether it's like I have these clients that are struggling with this. If there's ever any sort of topics that you want to learn more about, just jot it down. You can email me or we can talk about it at the end. But I just wanted to point that out too. Just as we talk about things, just kind of see if there's anything that you want to go a little bit deeper on.
Let me ask you something here on that, Terri.
Yeah.
On these visualization techniques, obviously different age groups for different clients, for different athletes. Is there a kind of a chart, a question approach for each of those, or is that something that you kind of create on your own and just utilize it accordingly? Because I just have, for instance, Barkley yesterday for the Eagles ran for 255 yards, and they just said, hey, sometimes you really come out slow at the gate every game. And he goes, I visualize every day. Part of my practice is I visualize doing a 70-yard run, making this cut, doing this. That's where my success comes from, as much as my physical demand on my body. And I thought that was
100%.
Yeah.
Every single athlete, when they get to the college level, sometimes not even that, but especially semi to professional level, every single athlete utilizes this technique. And it's because when I work with like youth athletes, a lot of times they don't do it, and it's simply because of a maturity thing, or they just don't buy into it. But when you get to the level where they have actual sports psychologists working on their team, every single one of them does it. And then they once they do it and they see it works, and they start to believe in the value of it. But it's really not a hard process. And there's even like YouTube videos that, like mindful meditation videos, that they can walk you through it. But there's kind of like a whole process to it. When I do it with my athletes, I will verbally give them like a 15-minute, 10-minute, sometimes even 5-minute script, and I'll do that for them. But it's a really easy sort of process. But every single athlete, I promise you, utilizes this. Even speakers like TED Talks, I mean, all of that. Where am I at right now? Okay. Just going into one takeaway, something that is, again, I feel like, especially with new trainers, and I know everyone has different levels of experience in these calls, so this might be something that's completely like, you're like, I know, I've already been there, done that, I know all of this. But especially for the people that are newer, and when I work with personal trainers one-on-one, whether we're just trying to like build confidence or they're just trying to build their business a little bit, a lot of times their problem is the very first meeting with their client. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like that first meeting can just make or break things. And it's typically because of an underlying issue. Maybe the professional has like imposter syndrome, or maybe they are just not confident in their abilities, or they're worried about their price tag on their services isn't matching up with like their value, right? So a lot of times it's just that one initial meeting. So these are just some ways to build rapport. So rapport is defined as the ability to connect with others in a way that creates a climate of trust and understanding. If you can build the value of your service and get them to buy into it, half of the battle is making yourself approachable and to get them to trust you and to kind of throw the ego out the door. A lot of times, and we can all agree on this, that half of this fitness industry is just a whole bunch of egos and a whole bunch of talk. So once you're able to just let down that defense mechanism, that's half of the battle. And again, I'm not saying this is like with anybody in the calls or whatever, but for the newer fitness professionals, this is something that I have found. So 8 ways to enrich rapport: maintaining a sense of calm rather than acting with defensiveness, soliciting the other person's opinion, being patient, allowing the client to appear smart and insightful, avoiding behavior that is humiliating to the other person, such as pointing out flaws, putting your ego on the back burner, practice concern and awareness for the other person's feelings, and finding ways to make the other person feel at ease. Okay, and then another sort of takeaway. In health coaching, there's something that's called the high mileage questions, open-ended questions. I'm sure you guys already know a little bit about this, but closed-ended questions are just questions that you can say yes or no to, but the open-ended questions are things that are going to open up your client, and again, building that solid rapport and that trust, an environment of respect. And that way, that's half of the issue right there. So what motivates you to start your fitness journey? What are your fitness goals? Why are these goals important to you? How do you see yourself achieving these goals? Have you tried reaching this goal in the past? If so, what would you do differently? What did not work? What would your ideal fitness program look like? What activities do you enjoy doing inside and outside of the gym? What does your ideal personal trainer look like to you? And what does the ultimate version of you look like? There's a few that I'm pretty sure I put in italics. Those ones are called the high mileage questions, like the last one. This is something that I use in every single one of my sessions, whether they're a professional athlete, whether they're an 8-year-old athlete, or whether they're just a health coaching sort of therapy client, right? But what does the ultimate version of you look like? This is something that this one question can really help with your client get buy-in and really tie emotion to their goal, because a lot of times they're just going to say, over 50% of the time, you're just going to get someone that's going to say, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to, fit in my size 8 jeans again, or whatever it is. But they're not, that's a very surface level question. And this is what health coaching will teach you, when you're able to peel back the layers and you're able to dig a little bit deeper, and again, positive psychology, you're going to build such a more stronger relationship with your client. So asking those high mileage questions when you're with them one-on-one, and it's not just, do you have any injuries that we need to work around? That's a yes or no question, right? That's a closed-ended question. Or have you tried to exercise before? It's a yes or no question. So making sure that you take it to another level to really get to know your client. Okay, these next few slides, I think there's a few, can't really see, motivation, anxiety, and confidence. I just put very brief things here because these are the kind of like, again, the bread and butter about a lot of things that we do. Motivation, confidence, anxiety is just such a common thing in the gym, especially with new people. So I wanted to add that, but these are just 3 very quick slides. Motivation is an internal process. It's the reason or reasons one has for acting in a particular way. It boils down to wanting to see a change in behavior, thoughts, feelings, self-concept, environment, and relationships. It's just a way to like reframe a few things. Again, just a little takeaway. Changing I will try or I hope to an I will phrase, because those 2 things cultivate a mindset of I don't have control over this situation. I don't have control over if I'm able to get my 3 days of cardio in this week. I don't have control over if I eat breakfast or not. I don't have control over if I, don't eat my kids' Halloween candy or whatever it is. Like, you do have control over it. So just making sure that little tiny reframing can really help sort of rewire your brain. Okay, anxiety, just always making sure that we don't exceed our scope of practice. We all know this. Anxiety is abnormal, overwhelming sense of apprehension and fear, marked with physical signs like sweating, tension, nerves having a negative impact in our performance or our desired outcome, whatever that is, whether it's us trying to increase business revenue or to just grow our business, or whether it's our clients reaching their goals, right? Don't be afraid to refer clients out or even yourself. Every client's different, so design a program what works best for your client and then adapt as needed. I think this is the confidence one, I'm not really sure. So confidence, again, knowing if we can successfully perform a desired behavior or a goal, boosting our clients' confidence in the gym, set a mindful mindset with your clients, offer options for exercises. Even when, I haven't in a while, but when, even with teaching the W.I.T.S classes, the personal training certification classes, being in One Life or wherever in the gym, so many times, even those trainers, the people that are aspiring trainers, even if they're like super fit, half the times they don't even want to go back into the weight room because it's like crowded and there's like, muscular men back there or whatever it is, right? So a lot of times with that, it's again, just like reframing things and changing their mindset with it. And then if they are actually really anxious and needing to kind of take baby steps, it's offering options for the exercise. Like, okay, well, we don't have to go in that weight room here. We can go into a more private room off to the side where it's like women's only or whatever it is, right? So like each step will lead to a bigger step kind of thing. And inspiring effort, not perfection. I say that to every single one of my clients all the time. We strive for excellence. We don't strive for perfection, right? Perfectionism just doesn't exist. Okay, periodically revisiting client goals and update as needed. This is just a little slide that just shows the difference between a growth mindset and then fixed mindset. I know we've all kind of heard about this. Is just something a little. Okay, so going into, I'm sorry if I'm starting to talk fast. I feel like I'm running out of time, but the psychology of business, the definition here is business psych. It merges insight from psychology with practical business applications, aiming to optimize individual or optional organizational performance by understanding the psychological underpinnings of behavior in the workplace. Organizations can foster a more engaged, productive, and satisfied workforce, leading to improved business outcomes. So this is more so referring to your personal business. It's all these things are, I have clients that are like in insurance, like it's real, it's not just, it's very powerful tools for whatever your business is. It doesn't have to be related to, fitness or whatever. It's a very broad kind of range. Okay. All right. Business psychology can provide valuable insights and strategies for personal trainers looking to grow their business in ways in which concepts from the field can be applied. This helps with building strong relationships. Again, that's in italics because I'm just kind of connecting those two with building rapport in those first meetings, asking the high mileage questions. That's how we build that strong relationship in business. So you can see how the two are definitely combined. Understanding client motivation, marketing and branding, client retention strategies, time management and productivity, personal development, utilizing technology and data. So these are, that's a few examples of some subtopics. Again, remember I said the umbrella of business psych, the umbrella of fitness psychology. It's very broad. There's so many different little subcategories of it. So these are kind of some subcategories. If there's anything in particular that you feel would be really beneficial to you, go ahead and just take note of that. Okay. So what barriers or obstacles do you feel hold you back from your growth in your business and your personal goals? Something just to kind of think about as we get to the SWOT analysis. You might have already done. Has anyone done one of these before by any chance, a SWOT analysis? This is something that you can assess your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat related to a project or a business venture. I just did this with a local business here, not fitness related, but it's a very, and I have worksheets that can really break things down, that can you can help to identify where your strengths and your weaknesses are. It's super, super helpful. And I'm going to, so if anyone's doing it now and you want to like jot it down, like you make your 4 columns, I have an example at the end too of what it would look like if a fitness professional were to do a SWOT analysis. Okay, so the first one we have is your strengths. That's what S is for. What are your personal internal strengths? What can you lean on to help you achieve your goals? Weaknesses. What are your personal internal weaknesses? What do you need to work on to achieve your goals? Opportunities. What external opportunities such as resources, people, or training can you take advantage of to help you achieve your goals? And the last one is threats. What external threats such as upcoming obstacles or contextual factors can you predict and mitigate to ensure you reach your goals? Okay. All right, so strengths. This is just kind of breaking each category down a little bit more. But outlining the strengths of your business helps you to identify what you're doing exceptionally well, whether you're owning a gym or having a PT business, nutrition business, whatever it is. This part of the analysis should be data-driven and not emotion-based. Okay, so if a particular program or initiative is working well, it's a strength, so you want to capitalize on those strengths. For example, if you are in a gym and you know that your group classes is increasing gym revenue, then you can dig deeper to that, right? Like how much money is it bringing in? Is class attendance consistently high? How would you evaluate your coaches? Those are some things that you can kind of look into. Strengths are not always tied to profits. It could be a new service. Maybe it's working really well for you. Maybe the weakness is in the marketing. So if that's the case, you don't want to change the service, right? You want to simply shift your focus on attention or your intention to improve that marketing. All right, weaknesses. These are areas that obviously need improvement. So your weaknesses and your threats to your business, those are not the same thing, just FYI, but they're usually things like procedures or people, something that is internal. Similar to strengths, your weaknesses are not always tied to your profits. For example, a weakness could be focusing on trying to grow too many areas at once or getting wrapped up in one certain task that we neglect all the other areas. Weaknesses could also include things from like unused gym equipment or space that's not being utilized. Maybe there's like extra office space or whatever, or class times on the schedules, things like that. So once you sort of created your list of your gym's current weaknesses, or I just put gym, but it could be your personal training business or your nutrition business, whatever it is, just fill in that blank. Then you take it a step further. Like what things on the list have been caused by your efforts? Okay. So the next thing is opportunities. This is something within the external environment, so not looking at internal anymore, that grants possibilities for improved profits. How can you upgrade your business? Some of my favorite ways to do this is by partnerships, local partnerships across promote. Think about the goals that you're looking to achieve and then seek out your partnerships that are aligned with those goals as well. You want to kind of think of it like an upgrade to your business. To help increase conversion rates. Even things like, I just literally just got off a conversation about this, trying to brainstorm areas that you can bring in more opportunities, like apartment complexes, for example, local development. Maybe the population is changing, maybe the cost of living is a little bit different. So things like that to kind of keep in mind. Okay. All right, and then threats. And talking about, like, say you did own a gym, just stepping back one, I think one of the best things to do is local partnerships, right? So whether you have a gym and you're partnering up with like a health center, or you're partnering up with like a supplement or a smoothie thing or things like that, I think that's one of the best ways to really sort of optimize on those opportunities. Okay, threats are things that could harm your business, be detrimental to your success. Anticipating threats can help you prevent damaging your brand's profits or reputation. For example, making sure you're staying on top of any sort of new or existing competition, shifts in the market, or other barriers that may inhibit your success. Making sure that you're brainstorming solutions. Okay. All right, the last thing here, this is an example of a SWOT analysis. So if you go back to looking at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats, making your 4 columns or however you want to do it. This is, again, an example for just a fitness personal trainer. So strengths being something like, I trained with Premier Training, worked as a gym instructor for 5 years before this diploma, all that. So you can kind of see how you can break it down. Like weaknesses, being not confident in price perimeters, that is so common. I feel like most people go through that at some point. Not very good at marketing or using social media. I think most of us are guilty with that at some point too. Looking at the opportunities, looking at the threats, making sure that you plan and you find solutions for any of your threats. So again, this is just an example that maybe can help you as a takeaway if you can sort of fill in the blanks for things that can help you with your own business growth. Okay. All right, good. It's good on time. The program design club, Jay can hop in on here whenever he wants to, but he can probably explain it a little bit better. But for this, Jay and I talked about doing a 6-month membership. And what we would do is each month we would go more into detail about some of those subcategories under business development, leadership development, for business psychology, and then under some more subcategories of positive psychology, how to start implementing it with some additional tools and strategies to help with your clients and to adding that to your toolbox. So like I said, this is all, when I do presentations for anything business psychology or anything sports psychology related, my brain gets jumbled because I'm like, there's just so many different things to talk about. So it really has to be broken down. So that's what this 6-month membership would look like, getting more into further detail. And like I said before, it's always a collaboration. Whenever I work with anyone, you let me know on how I can help you and what sort of more information that you would like. And I usually make a presentation or I do deliver worksheets or whatever it is to help in particular topics. So Jay, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, no, we started a program design club. Many of you are aware with Ashley, and we did that over last year, and it was a tremendous success where we would meet once a month, and in this case for a 6-month, and we would go over a certain topic area. And then of course we even had a private chat group that they would get together and kind of cover some areas. So this is really based on that. This psychology business club, if you will, is to help you pick apart some of these many things that she touched base on, to drill down on certain areas of, let's just say, the SWOT, and being able to discuss them at length, and you sharing your own examples of where you feel your issues lie and how those particular, like I had asked for forms on breaking some of those questions down in some kind of pattern for youth versus just somebody who's trying to improve their lifestyle and their health and their fitness. There's an approach to it, and there's a way to do it to bring out information that's not challenging or threatening to them. And then of course to walk it off and help them change their lives, help your athlete improve, whether they're youth or high school or so on. There's approaches to it, and to leave that part of the market unavailable or untouched, instead of just doing the surface stuff that we all do with a regular workout and fitness every day. And those approaches, this is where obviously Terri's background can really dive in and do some things. So there'll be some contact information here. We'll certainly send you more detail on it. And of course, Terri, with individual questions, can really help you dive in as to how it could help your business and how you're approaching your clients. Maybe many of you are not even working with athletes, and that's a whole nother bit that maybe you hear them talk about their kids all the time in high school sports or in middle school sports or youth soccer, and that their kid is struggling with this or that. Well, all of a sudden now you can have an approach for that parent to get them in contact with you, and you can start working with them a certain amount of hours each week, each month, that kind of thing. Mark, you have a question? I see Did you want to ask it? No, Mark? No? Okay.
Can I be heard?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now, Mark.
Okay. I had a problem with my microphone before. That's why I was afraid I'd put it in the chat box. The question I have is this. Listen, thank you very much for doing this. Terri did a real nice job. But when it comes to, I know most of the people on this call are fitness professionals, personal trainers. When it comes to a mental performance consultation, is there anything that, can you discuss like what that looks like, what steps you take, or the forms they fill out, or how that actually looks that is different than, or if it is different than a personal training fitness consultation?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, just like personal training, obviously there's things like, your informed consent and things like that. When I work with my clients, we always do what's called an MSQ, mental skills questionnaire. And depending on the age of the client, it can be 30 questions up to like 200 questions. The 200 questions is more for like the really advanced or even professional athletes because it gets more details. The shorter ones are for the short attention span of like 10-year-old soccer players. But the MSQ, it divides things into categories and it ranks you from a scale of, it being one of your weaknesses up to being something that you're super strong in. So we kind of start at the areas that they're quote weakest in and build the toolbox up from there. So things like visualization and imagery ability, confidence, goal setting, motivation, depends if they are recovering from injuries or anything like that. But when I have any consultations for mental performance, I kind of describe it similar as we would as personal trainers. Like this is your toolbox of your mental performance. You might not necessarily utilize all these tools right away, but maybe down the road when there is an injury, you're going to pull out this particular tool. Okay, this is how I use imagery to sort of help me mentally heal my body. There's so many different studies out there that are extremely interesting, and that I will give those to my clients sometimes too, so they can get buy into it, because obviously if you're not believing in that skill or that technique, it's not going to do anything for you. And then also I use all those high mileage questions that I put in there. That's not just for health coaching or for fitness professionals, but that's also for anyone, I feel like, in this field, just to kind of really help them nail down like what their goals are and to attach the meaning and the emotion behind it. So that's, like I said, I've been a mental performance consultant for a while, but I've got the other certifications like the board for health coaching to help fill in the gaps to make it more of a holistic approach, because there's so many things that relate to each other, whether it's like the legs of the chair. Fitness has a mental component, sleep has a mental component, and so does like our nutrition and our relationship with food. So everything is very similar. Does that answer your question? I feel like I kind of went off on a tangent.
Yeah, it kind of does. That's okay. But now the question, the follow-up is, does MSQ stand for mental strength questionnaire?
Mental skills.
Mental skills questionnaire. Okay. Is there some place that, we're allowed to actually go to actually see what one of these actually looks like?
Yeah, I mean, I have one. Yeah, I can send one out if you want one.
Okay. I didn't know if there's an organization that had them or a website or something like that. I was looking if I don't know if you knew if you knew of that existed. I didn't know.
When I was in graduate school, I just held on to all the ones that we used in our textbook. But you could probably Google, if you just Googled mental skills questionnaire, I'm sure that it would pop up with one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Of course.
Yeah, I can always attach it to the recording. Everybody will be getting a recording after this tomorrow. 24 hours later, you'll get a recording, which will have these on there, because I know at some point she had mentioned the SWOT. If it's difficult, obviously, to take, but a picture of it or whatever the case may be, so you can get that extra follow-up. But you'll get the recording, and then you can just pause it and check it out, as well as any of these other slides leading towards, of course, hopefully joining the psychology business club that we're setting up here, that I think is going to be very exciting. And we're going to be starting that in January, right, Terri? That's when we were looking at starting it. So we're not expecting you to get involved and you got everything going on with the holidays and family and kind of closing out maybe your year end with other priorities for your business. But this would be a nice new way to kick it off and have a real new game plan for your business as a fitness trainer or whatever other hats you want to expand on, so you can obviously have more clientele in different areas and be effective at it, not just offer it, but actually have a game plan that's going to bring it home for those people. And of course, word of mouth, as Terri said, is what brings it to being a long-standing successful business. So anything else, Terri?
I think that covers it.
Okay.
Unless anyone else had any questions.
Any other questions, anybody? Mark, those were great. Thank you. Mary Beth, Marilee, anybody have any questions at all? Or you certainly can reach out and I'll get them to Terri so you can expand on that and explore some things maybe that you're still just kind of banging around in your head, but you really don't have something yet you want to necessarily apply to it and ask here. But the whole idea is to everybody to help get better, and that's what this is about. So we appreciate you attending the meeting today, the webinar, and Terri, an amazing job. I know she covered a lot of material there in a short period of time, but there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of meat on the bone. Unless you're a vegetarian, then there's a lot of stalks on the something, I don't know. So, but we hope you all will, I see maybe there's a written question here. We'll see if we can address it real quick. No, Mary Beth, everybody, okay, thank you. They didn't have any questions. They just said thank you. And we appreciate it. And everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends. And hopefully we get a chance to work with you in this club as well. Terri, thank you very much.
Thank you, Terri. Really appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.